The downfall of modern SpongeBob characters.
They're loud, chaotic, and
Better
flat.
kids.
Back then, every single character felt special. But today, they're barely recognizable. Where did it all go wrong? There was a time when SpongeBob felt special. He wasn't just funny, he was real.
Bro, that was prime SpongeBob. That image right there. Like the OG, and not this one. The OG animated SpongeBob. Actually, I don't think that's OG.
Just funny.
But like the old SpongeBob res. Now he's like very yellow and he looks like shiny. Like you spit on him.
He was real. Not in the realistic sense, obviously, he's a sponge working at a fast food joint. But we used to feel connected with him. His character was cheerful most of the time. Yeah, but there were times when he also got
This one's OG. That's not.
nervous.
Even that's still like reasonable though. I think SpongeBob still has some decent episodes like in the, you know, season 5, 6 area. But after that, what season of SpongeBob do you think we're on? 16 seasons of SpongeBob. And they're coming out like in modern times.
He cared when people didn't like him. He wanted to be good at his job, to be respected, to make people proud, especially Mr. Krabs. His character is so dynamic because there are so many emotions packed into one sponge. Often in a single episode, his mood could change quickly in just a few seconds.
Or am I gonna have to?
Bro, the really I ever see is when people talk about how Squidward used to be really annoying when you were a kid, but you relate to him as you get older. Like, as you age, you're like, you know, Squidward was kind of like actually spitting facts. Like, most of the show, he's like, he's not even really being pessimistic. He's just like, dude, you're ruining my life. Like everything you do just affects me in a negative way.
We could see it since the very first episode of Help Wanted. SpongeBob is excited to start his new job as a fry cook at the Krusty Krab.
With a help wanted sign in the window. For years, I've been dreaming of this moment.
This is an interesting detail because he knows that he was being excited and thinking he might be getting ahead of himself, so he's losing confidence. This kind of details the reason why kids, even adults, feel connected to him. SpongeBob didn't just act like a kid, he felt like one. He thinks like a kid.
How old is SpongeBob supposed to be? He's an adult. Like 20s? How old is SpongeBob supposed to be? Mid-30s? Bro, this guy's a loser. He's 38 based on his license. Okay, but in that license photo, he was born 1986.
He behaves like a kid, even living his life like a kid. That's what makes his character funny in the first place. Seeing a naive kid trying to fit into an adult environment with the most ridiculous ways possible is the jokes. SpongeBob was the anchor of the show's heart. His positivity balanced the cynicism of Squidward, the stupidity of Patrick, and the greed of Mr. Krabs. We could see this also when he tried so hard to deliver that pizza, even after being stranded in the middle of nowhere. He doesn't want to fail Mr. Krabs for giving the job to him. That optimism was honest. It came from effort, not just volume. The first SpongeBob SquarePants movie is probably the
Peak.
last time we saw this version of SpongeBob. Right after the first movie, SpongeBob...
Yeah, but I like the theory. I really do enjoy the theory that in the first film, he died on that sun table and then was reborn as a different sponge. And that's why his character is different. Because it's actually not SpongeBob. It's like a different Spud version of SpongeBob.
Character became somewhat energetic. They pushed the joke into different directions, using slapstick jokes with lots of gross...
Yeah, that's where the show took a downturn. Was when, like, every episode they just had some weird, gross, over-textualized animation.
stuff and uncomfortable visuals.
Oh! This episode was the worst. It was a good watch, but I remember the whole time being like, bro, they're throwing trash on his fucking Splinter.
They also take advantage of the joke that SpongeBob laughs are unique.
This.
To some people, it's a funny experience. But when it's used continuously with each episode, they start to force it into the joke, which makes it annoying. And fast forward to the present. Today's SpongeBob feels emotionless, to say the least. It feels like he performs those emotions. He laughs because that's what SpongeBob does, not because anything's actually funny. It's just obnoxiously loud. Somehow it feels like they dumbed down on the show overall. Instead of properly setting up jokes, they used more and more random slapstick jokes to get as many laughs as possible. It's all noise and weird expressions, all the time.
I don't even think, though, that's like the writer's fault. It's the fact that if they made modern SpongeBob episodes today, it wouldn't even do well. I don't know how SpongeBob airs in popularity today, but kids today watch Cocomelon and Brain Rot. So, somebody redeemed Flex. If kids today are watching already other things that are like cutscene, joke, there's no like plot building. And so if SpongeBob doesn't follow suit with just like falling into the nonsensical, like just bits, it would fail. I just think they should have ended the show.
Which is probably
like a show that dragged on too long. What am I gonna say, chat? Not a cartoon. You might have never seen it. I watched almost the entire show, and it is peak, but Supernatural. This show is way too fucking long. If you're unemployed, this is the show for you. Okay? It is 15 seasons, and each season has an average episode count of 22. Each episode is an hour. An hour. What the fuck? Like, if you watched it start to end, it would take you more than 2 weeks to finish the show. Like, it just nonstop. It is so long. After season 7, they're like, Dean's the devil. Now he's not the devil. Now Sam's God. Now Sam's not God. Now he's a vampire. Now he's no longer a vampire. He's a werewolf. He died. Actually, he's back. Actually, God is actually a comic book writer.
To always keep people engaged, especially the kids. Because kids nowadays have short attention spans. So maybe the show writer tried to keep them hooked every 10 seconds with a weird face expression, just like scrolling through social media. The show stopped asking us to feel with him and started begging us to laugh at him. We rarely see SpongeBob having a monologue with himself these days. His character stops being self-conscious, and it shows. Instead of a character with real feelings, we got a hyperactive mascot, and it's pretty sad to see. The noise gets louder, but the heart gets quieter. And if SpongeBob is the chaos engine, then Patrick is the wrecking ball. Patrick is a dumb sea star. That's not a secret. But there was something endearing about it. He was SpongeBob's ride-or-die best friend.
I feel like most people's favorite character was Patrick.
Sweet, loyal, and goofy in a way that made you want to protect him. His brain wasn't exactly firing on all cylinders, but there was a weird wisdom there. It's not about winning.
No. Who's y'all's favorite character? I liked Squidward. I feel like for me it was Patrick, SpongeBob, Sandy, Mr. Krabs, and then like random other characters. I never really liked the Squidward episodes.
The machinations of my mind are an enigma.
In the early episodes like Big Pink Loser, we saw him try and fail numerous times. He's not giving up simply because he wants to accomplish something, a trophy. Though he ends up getting one himself for literally not doing anything. Yeah, it's weird, but it's also a heartwarming resolution for his character. It's better to be yourself rather than to be someone else just because you want to be recognized. He wasn't smart, but he cared for people around him. And when he messed up, it came from misunderstanding, not malice. But somewhere along the way...
I do love the Patrick Doctor episode.
Patrick's character went off the rails. He didn't just get dumber. He got mean. Where his stupidity used to come from innocence, now it comes from apathy. He started being selfish, destructive, and honestly, kind of toxic. Instead of helping SpongeBob, he started hurting him, on purpose, or through mindless recklessness. They took the one thing kids loved, Patrick's dumb, and cranked it up until it swallowed everything.
Oh my god, I forgot he had his own show. And it flopped miserably because nobody watched it. They released it at like the worst time when everybody was aging out of SpongeBob, and it was like I guess lessening in popularity. They're like, yeah, let's bring on the Patrick show when the average OG audience member is like fucking 15 now. Nobody's gonna watch it.
Else. These days, Patrick is basically a walking disaster. He breaks things, hurts people, and shrugs it off like it's part of the joke. And the worst part, the show plays it off like it's funny. It's not. Like in Pet Sitter Pat, he nearly kills Gary through sheer neglect. That is the joke for the whole episode. Early Patrick would have felt bad. New Patrick just shrugs, drools, and continues to break something else. In the recent episode, Pet the Rock from season 14, Patrick just became somewhat psychotic.
SpongeBob!
What?
Like, that upsets me that they killed the show like this.
What was that about?
Does it do well? How do they keep renewing for more seasons? Isn't Nickelodeon like a failing business? I'm pretty sure like Kai Cenat gets more average viewers than Nickelodeon. It's a kids show, I know, but what kids watch cable TV anymore? I'm pretty sure SpongeBob does so bad. Like Nickelodeon in general. Nickelodeon average viewers. In 2023, Nickelodeon saw a decline across its channels, averaging 245,000 viewers. The main Nickelodeon channel, 190, and Nick Jr., 112. Bro, so there's times where, like, the top Twitch streamers have more viewers than an entire cable network.
Is he getting PBA disorder like the Joker now? That's the joke? Patrick cannot control his emotions anymore? Later in the episode, Patrick is taking his pet rock to the park. And guess what happened?
Whoa, Rolly! You want to play with everyone today!
This guy just pummeled everyone in the park out of nowhere, and that's supposed to be funny? When you make a character so stupid that they lose empathy, they stop being fun to watch. In earlier episodes, Patrick was at least competent enough to do simple stuff. Now it feels like he's too stupid to function. He's not funny because he's confused anymore. He's funny because he's a problem.
Yeah, Patrick used to be a dumb risk taker, and now he's just an idiot. You remember when they had the Hook episode where there was a editor, if this becomes a video, throw up an image. They had a bunch of hooks on the ground or in the water, and they had like cheese on them. And he was like, dude, SpongeBob, these are like, this is free food. And they would like play on him and shit. And then Mr. Krabs was like, you're going to get, they're going to pull you in. You're going to die. I had a friend die. And they're like, no. And they keep playing with it. And they keep making those risks, and it builds anticipation. And then finally they do get like hooked. That was the plot, I guess.
Sure, the show tried.
Now it's just, you just know Patrick's going to break some shit. There's no build-up.
Tries to give him emotional moments now and then, but they fall flat because the groundwork isn't there anymore. You can't care about a character who's been written into a mean joke too many times. And with Patrick turning into a wrecking ball, Squidward turns into a punching bag. Squidward was never meant to be a hero, but for a lot of us, he kind of became one. In the city full of absurdity, Squidward's cynicism...
Why doesn't he wear pants? Why does he only wear a shirt?
In the city full of absurdity, Squidward's cynicism became a sort of reality check. He was tired, underappreciated, stuck in a job he hated, and surrounded by people he didn't understand. He was us on a Monday morning, just trying to get through it without losing it completely. And honestly, he handled it better than most of us would. But underneath all that bitterness, there was ambition, sensitivity, even sadness. Sometimes he just lost it, and I wouldn't blame him. It's not easy being Squidward.
And a 1, and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Is mayonnaise an instrument? See, that's peak comedy.
But here's the thing. Squidward's pain is not the punchline. Episodes like Squidville showed us that Squidward wasn't just a grump. He was a guy trying to find meaning, trying to chase something better. But he kept getting dragged down by conditions, which is fun.
Yeah, and there was always a lesson. Like the one episode where he went to like Squidville with all the people that were like him, and he ended up hating it, and he realized that he enjoyed the variety that SpongeBob and Patrick entered into his life.
Funny, but also kind of heartbreaking. And when he won, like in Band Geeks, it felt huge. Like watching someone finally catch a break after years of chaos. These ups and downs in his story are the essence of his character. His trait of cynicism is caused by years of failure and frustration.
The peak viewership for Nickelodeon was 10 million. Yeah, probably in like 2008.
This is also the reason why many of us felt related with Squidward's story when we grew up. Because he is the regular person in the show. Those little victories, they mattered.
Bro, remember when there would be like hype for, oh my god, I miss like the cable drop days. I think kids shouldn't be allowed to use subscription services. They should have to watch fucking like shows that are just on. That was a fun era. Like going through the channels and just being like, I only have options between what's like, you would just start watching a show mid-episode. Like you couldn't rewind. So it was just like, I want to watch a show, but it's 7:20, so I'm watching the latter half of Drake and Josh. I'm tuning in, and I may have seen this episode. It doesn't matter.
But now, he doesn't win. Ever. Squidward stopped being a character and started being a crash test dummy. Every episode, he suffers. He's humiliated, injured, embarrassed, sometimes for no reason other than SpongeBob and Patrick existing near him. My guy can't catch a break. You don't get it. He's a funny character because he's sassy and cynical even when he hits rock bottom, not because we love to see him getting tortured. Episodes like Ink Lemonade don't just push the joke, they grind it into the ground. SpongeBob and Patrick discover that every time Squidward gets jumped or scared, he's spewing out his ink, which turns out to be delicious.
That's delicious.
They continue to scare Squidward to death just so they could sell Squidward ink to people. What the?
So what the fuck? Bro, I kind of want to just watch a random episode of a new season of SpongeBob.
Aside from the joke, I kind of felt bad for him. They just milked him for the whole episode. Maybe
Literally.
milking him wasn't the right word, but you get what I mean. At this point, Squidward could fall into a volcano, and the show would probably add a fart sound and call it a day. No lesson, no moment, just pain.
What the?
Yeah, he's just a punching bag character versus like a relief.
In the old seasons, when Squidward got hurt, it usually felt earned. Because he was being arrogant or dismissive, now he just gets punished for existing, and it's exhausting to watch. In season 13 alone, there are at least 5 episodes where SpongeBob tortures Squidward as a main focus of the story. It could be more, since I haven't yet watched every episode.
Well, dude, I also think they're running out of ideas. I think it's hard to have a forever kids show because there's only so much you can do. In Family Guy and The Simpsons and like adult cartoons, they can joke and do content about anything. Like Family Guy can make modern episodes about modern day issues. South Park the same. And they can talk and do, like they can make a plot where they have a higher variety of content to run. This, they live underwater in the Bikini Bottom in this fucking contained universe. They're only able to make content within that universe, and they can't go into the adult range of content. So they're stuck making the same fucking 10 kid jokes for 15 seasons.
You can only watch someone lose so many times before it stops being funny and just starts feeling cruel. And when every pain turns into a joke, none of them stick. But you know what's also painful? Seeing your boss turn into a capitalist. Mr. Krabs has always been about money. That's nothing new. But early on, his greed was simply a bad habit, not all that he was. Yeah, he was cheap, sure. He exploited his employees a little, but deep down, he had heart. He is a proud business owner and cares about his daughter. Sometimes we could see him being a father figure to Spongebob. In episodes like Sleepy Time, Mr. Krabs dreamed about sailing with his daughter. Or Welcome to the Chum Bucket, where we saw that he cared about SpongeBob. And for a split second, money doesn't really matter. These little details in the story really showcase Krabs' personality outside the work environment. He had a history, a daughter, even regrets as a father. He could be selfish, but he wasn't soulless. There were lines he wouldn't cross, especially for the closest person. Then, post-movie, especially...
I hate Pearl. I've always hated Pearl. I think she's so fucking annoying. I hate every episode she's in. Because she always brings her friends, and they're always angry, and she's always mad, and she's spoiled, and annoying.
By season 7 and beyond, greed took over everything. Those lines disappeared. And what used to be a flaw became a full-blown personality. Literally. As the show progressed, Mr. Krabs' character underwent a process known as flanderization, where his negative traits were amplified and became the dominant aspect of his personality. The worst part is how the show treats his relationship with SpongeBob. He used to respect SpongeBob's loyalty, now he takes advantage of it. SpongeBob practically worships the guy, and Krabs just manipulates him, underpays him, and throws him under the bus whenever it's convenient. The charm is gone. What was once a greedy but lovable boss has turned into a one-note character with zero emotional weight. Want more convincing?
I don't want to say that they couldn't have done anything but this, but how do you keep that same character of, like, respect? Mr. Krabs has his flaws, but he has respect for SpongeBob, and they learn lessons, because eventually they would get rid of their flaws. Or not even get rid of their flaws, they would just lessen them to a point where it's like they can't keep doing the same story over and over again. So they had to change it to where they're able to just manipulate the characters to do whatever bit they want.
Proof? The official channel of SpongeBob SquarePants itself made a compilation clip of Best of Mr. Krabs being a dad a while ago. And guess what? There are no clips from season 9 or after. The most recent episode they used in the video is from Barnacle Face from season 8. They couldn't find a dad moment in the later seasons because there are no more wholesome moments after season 8. Just an old, greedy crustacean. And that's the issue. When every decision a character makes is about money, you can't tell real
$1 per footstep. That's kind of funny, though.
Stories with them anymore. We just know somewhere along the episode, he'll just stab someone in his back for a profit. Once SpongeBob became a billion-dollar brand, it's almost like Krabs' character turned into a parody of the show itself. Anything for $1. And when the character stops growing, the story stops mattering. There's nothing left to explore, just new ways for him to be a jerk. But speaking about exploration, there are no characters in the show who
I think it is. It's not even that the character needs to grow anymore. It's that they need to experience events that have some meaning outside of the episode itself, which is what adult Forever episodes do. They punch jokes. They have storylines. The characters never grow. They're always the same personality they'll always be. Like Peter and Lois and fucking Stewie Griffin. But they do commentary on modern events. So it's like they separate it from character growth and move it to, hey, we're making a message about like society itself. But they can't do that. You can't do that in a kids show.
Exploration better than Sandy Cheeks. Sandy is one of the most interesting characters in SpongeBob. As a kid, I just loved her simply because she's a tough character. She had big goals in mind, and we know she'll always come up with a plan to reach it. She is proud to be the first mammal to break the underwater ceiling, and she is not just smart, she's also a caring friend who is always ready to stop the chaos made by SpongeBob and Patrick. Sometimes she just throws—
Bro said baddie, Sandy Cheeks. When I was like 7, I probably had a crush on Sandy.
Parties and surprises for her closest friends.
Which is wild, because she's a squirrel.
Just like the chocolate balloon for Patrick on Valentine's Day. Another episode
spitting.
Such as Karate Choppers highlighted her stubbornness, and how she challenged SpongeBob in a way no one else did. And episodes like Texas showed her homesickness, her pride in where she came from. Behind all that muscle and big brain move, we could see her just wanting warmth every now and then. She added variety to the group. The land mammal with intellect and discipline, pushing SpongeBob and others to think, to train and improve. But as the seasons dragged on, Sandy faded into the background. She became the default science solution for every weird problem. Need a shrink ray? A cloning machine? A brain switcher? Call Sandy. The show stopped treating her like a character and started treating her like a tool. And the saddest part for me is that she loses the southern charm. Those adventurous spirits, the warm southern hospitality, and her appreciative moments are just gone. Well, at least she still has that southern Texas accent. But that alone isn't enough to showcase her character. She even rarely interacts meaningfully with the rest of the cast. The last time we could still see her having character is somewhere between season 7 and 8, with some episodes like...
Bro, so you're telling me like almost 10 seasons of the show, she just does fucking nothing but invent stuff?
Rodeo Days and Someone in the Kitchen with Sandy. There is some character depth there, but still not as good as the early seasons. And don't get me started with the Sandy Cheeks movie. Just... ugh.
Dude, they're coming out with shit I've never heard of before. The Sandy Cheeks movie. What do you think the rating of that is? Saving Bikini Bottom. It has a 29% audience score, but a 53% critic score. What critic is watching Sandy Cheeks movie?
I don't even want to talk about that. But don't get me wrong. I do kind of understand the reason behind her changes. Sandy's rational character used to be the balance in the middle of the bizarre Bikini Bottom. She often challenges SpongeBob and the others to be better. As the show leaned into the crazier sci-fi plots and most of the characters get simplified, they can't really make Sandy challenge them anymore. Instead, they made her help the chaos to be bigger every single time. Her personality didn't fit the new formula, so they boxed her.
Oh my god, the karate episode where they go through a tier, like a boss tier. Oh my god. Dude, I forgot I remember this being one of my favorite episodes.
Into one trait. Smart. Simple. Marketable. Forgettable. Sandy Cheeks went from being one of the show's most well-rounded personalities to someone who shows up when the writers need a Deus Ex squirrel. And when the show needed someone to be hated, they called Plankton. Plankton was never going to win. But that wasn't the point. He was 2 inches tall, owned the world's worst restaurant, and had one customer. A fake one. Similar to Squidward, Plankton's character often revolves around failure and insecurity. He was constantly trying to prove he was more than a loser. He wanted the Krabby Patty formula, sure, but what he really wanted was respect. And when you...
You know what I never understood about Plankton? And this is like a major plot flaw for me. I know it's a kid's show. He always wanted to steal the Krabby Patty formula, couldn't get it. So he invented a machine where he could analyze a Krabby Patty and then just reconstruct it. But he always got stopped when he would take the burger. Why couldn't he just pay someone to go buy a Krabby Patty and then bring it to him? Like, that was... he would make inventions to, like, camouflage himself and go in and steal the Krabby Patty. Bro, just pay your friend to go fucking buy one and just walk it over. No one's gonna stop you.
Karen, his computer wife, you get some genuinely funny and emotional moments. It was dysfunctional, sure, but you could still feel for them. Episodes like FUN showed that he wasn't all evil. He was just desperate, and sometimes just sad. In the episode, SpongeBob sees through Plankton. He tries to be his friend, and for a minute, Plankton almost puts the evil aside, before his greed took over and ruined the friendship. That kind of story gave him layers. Sure, he was the antagonist, but you kind of wanted him to get one win, just once. Because sometime, someone has to teach that greedy crab a lesson, right?
Yeah, bro, that greedy crab a lesson, I remember getting into it too and being like, what the fuck is on that formula, bitch? I wanted to know so bad. I was like, what is the Krabby Patty formula? And they found it, and there was like some thing that was like redacted, and I remember being like, dude, what is that? What is that final what is the secret ingredient?
There was also an episode where Plankton gave up on trying to steal the Krabby Patty recipe. He decides to shut down the Chum Bucket and open up a gift shop called Chumporium. He also manages to fix his relationship with Krabs and go to a carnival together. Both of them said sorry, and Krabs gave him the formula as a kind gesture. A good redemption story, in my opinion. Well, he's not really changed, technically. Since, spoiler alert, the whole gift shop is a ruse, as a trick to soften up Krabs, making him hand over his recipe willingly. Fortunately, Krabs did outsmart him in the end.
I never give you the formula.
I don't remember this episode.
Still, a good arc for Plankton. It gives him some depth. But fast forward into the recent season,
Why don't we see other crabs? Yeah, that's the theory that the Krabby Patty secret formula is crab meat. But then also, why is his daughter a whale?
Plankton just became a one-liner joke. And not even a funny one. His plans stopped being clever, and his personality flattened. He's not insecure anymore, he's just loud, over the top, and constantly getting humiliated. The writers turned him into a one-trick pony. Step 1, making a scheme. Step 2, fail and get humiliated. Step 3, scream. That's it. But it gets worse. The dynamic with Karen, which used to be this funny, weird little marriage, turned into the same recycled gag. Plankton fucked up, Karen insults him, Plankton yells back, Karen's coming up with something, and repeat. Plankton's case is a tragedy in my opinion. He was a good character for the villain role. He is capable of showing so many emotions for a single-celled animal, especially with his long frenemy, Krabs. It could lead to something great once his character developed, but that takes time to build. And the new version of the show didn't want to build, it wanted to sprint. So Plankton stopped being sympathetic and started being a pity. Instead of growth, they gave him a loop, just reruns with new disguises. His character just stuck, like the show itself. These characters were pulled apart, torn down, and flattened piece by piece over the years. A cast of characters that once felt alive, just gone. It's clear that today's SpongeBob is made specifically for kids, and maybe that's the real reason we don't find the new ones enjoyable, because most of us who watched and loved early SpongeBob are not kids anymore.
I think that's true, but I feel like okay, this is going to sound crazy. It's not going to sound crazy. We watched, maybe we meaning me, because I don't know how you guys, a lot of you guys are younger than me. People that were born between like 1998 and 2006 watched Nickelodeon and Disney into like 13, 14 maybe, probably 12, 13, and then you stop watching it. Now, I feel like kids stop watching Nickelodeon and Disney when they're like 9 because it's so kiddish. There was like a level of entertainment for teenagers in Disney and Nickelodeon shows in like the 2010s. I think now Disney and Nickelodeon solely markets themselves towards like 10-year-olds and younger. Like they don't really make anything that's reasonably entertaining for anybody. Because, I mean, obviously they had like Disney XD and stuff, which was like meant for teens. But like even now, it's just like the shit they churn is just slop. It feels like I'm watching a Dar Man video.